Good morning, everybody, and welcome to this live stream. My name is Holly Matthews, and I am a self-development coach. I am a mom of two girls. I'm a TEDx speaker, former TV actress, and I am the founder of the Happy Me Project. The Happy Me Project, for those that don't know, is self-study courses. It is group coaching. It is a podcast. It is a community. We have a Facebook group. Some of you are dialed in from the Facebook group as well. If you're not in the Facebook group, please do definitely join the Facebook group, the Happy Me Project, because there is some awesome people in there. And yeah, welcome. Today's topic, today we are talking about how to deal with disappointment. And the reason for this, for any of my English viewers, yesterday was a disappointment in terms of the football. If you don't care about football, that's fine. But this is what sparked the conversation. We won't be talking about football as such. Good morning, Martin. Good morning on Facebook. I can't see some of you guys, but good morning on Facebook. Good morning to everybody. I thought this was a very apt topic, and also one that is important regardless, right? I think it's important for all of us regardless. I don't think it matters whether you're disappointed with football. I think it's actually mostly important that we understand that we as people can deal with disappointment, and we can keep walking forward, and we can be all the better for those disappointments and rejections that we face. And I personally have experienced many disappointments, and for those that know me and follow me will know that I came from a background of being a TV actress, and in that world, by God, you get disappointments, and even with successes. So it's interesting, even with the successes that you can have, and I was lucky enough to have many successes. Good morning, Active FX on YouTube. And those guys on Facebook, some of you I can't see unless you let StreamYard see your posts. But yeah, as an actress, I had many failures, many failures, probably more failures than most of you will have in your entire lifetime. And as an actor, it can feel really personal because it's a literal rejection of you, perhaps the way you look, perhaps the way you talk, how you turned up at the audition, and it's hard. And so I am absolutely an expert when it comes to bouncing back after stuff, after disappointments, after hardship. Good morning, lovely Kat. I see Kat in the Facebook group, and Kat has been a regular in the group for forever. She's an OG, and I haven't seen your face for a while, so it's lovely to see you. And before we go any further, for those that are part of my community already, you will know that I like to start, and especially at the beginning of the week, checking in with ourselves, a little check-in with ourselves. And the way that we do this, it is not me going, hi, how are you? How are you today? Because when people say, how are you? How many of us kind of go, do you want to open that can of worms? I'm not sure you do. And we find it really difficult with the small talk, because I know I'm not the only one that finds that difficult and finds it hard not to want to dive into all of the stuff. So the way that I like to do a check-in with ourselves is to go 1 to 10. How are you feeling? 1 is rubbish, I feel rubbish. 10, I feel amazing, and everywhere in between. And just recognizing that you checking in with yourself, that this is a really important tool, a really important skill. And even when you're not in one of my lives, I really encourage you to do this. And you have to ask twice. You have to, how are you? If we ask you, we have to ask twice. How are you? Is that with the head tilt? But how are you really? But how are you in yourself? That's what people do, isn't it? Especially if you're going through difficult stuff and people know. But how are you? How are you in yourself? Shush. 1 to 10. How are you? That's what I want to know. Let me know in the comments. And if you're watching this on the replay, still let me know, because it's a really important way for you to check in with yourself. So when you wake up in the morning, it might be worth just asking yourself, where am I at? 1 to 10. Or maybe you need a few minutes. I don't know. And just finding a time of the day to check in, and do this periodically throughout the day. And you can use this as a practice of mindfulness. So mindfulness, you might know about, you might not, but essentially mindfulness is bringing yourself into the present moment as much as possible, and literally being mindful of where you're at. By doing that, you are able to notice, oh, I feel amazing. Or, wow, I feel amazing. And by doing that, you stop yourself either spiraling out, and you really learn to appreciate those moments when it is good. Because we know that life's like this, right? It's just like this. It's never like this. It is never a straight thing. It is sometimes we feel rubbish, sometimes we feel good, but we have to acknowledge the good when we're in it. And when we're sad, we also have to acknowledge it so we can do something about it. I'm just looking at the comments now and I see we've got Hannah, who is an 8 and sad about the backlash for the footballers. Can't believe racism. People. Oh, I haven't read any of the news and that's so rubbish if that's the case. Ugh. I mean, I'm just going to put out there, I did a podcast on this as well if you want to listen to my full thoughts on all things racism. It's 2021. Grow up. You're still a racist, if you're still judging people on their race in any which way, and you aren't aware of the privileges that are underlying when you have a white face, just what you're doing. It's 2021. Have a word with yourself. I have no time for it. I'm very lucky. I grew up in a very tolerant household of everybody, whatever. I grew up in a household where we were just told, just let people be. Let people, whether it's race, whether it's what their sexual orientation is, what they decide they want to be, their pronouns. I couldn't give a flying. Try not to swear because it's early, but you know what I'm saying, right? Martin is an 8. Amazing. That sounds good. 8-ish. I like an ish. Good morning to somebody on Facebook I can't see. And Kat is a 1 today. So I'm so glad you're here. Feeling under the weather. Not a good start today. Oh no, you've been sick. Oh, rubbish. That's what I wondered why you were here, actually, because you're usually at work. Got a million things to do today. Currently in the middle of moving house, which is the biggest stressor ever for anybody. Moving house is always touted as the most stressful time. So please be kind to yourself, Kat. Be sick. Be sick. Allow yourself to be sick. If you can do tiny things, then do it, but you're not going to be winning if you're ill. See where you can ask for help. I know you've got a lovely support network around you, and I know it's hard to ask for help. I hate asking for help. It's something I have to tell myself. So see if you can reach out to people today. If you're not feeling well, so you're not going to get stuff done effectively anyway. Just having a look at the comments as well. We've got somebody who is an 8, somebody who is a 5, which is low for you. Passed my course as a foot practitioner, you know what that is. And I just don't feel good enough to do it. And I'm worrying about going into people's houses to do the treatment. I try and visualize myself. Oh, it's Jane. Oh, amazing, Jane. Jane, I don't even know what that is. So what's a foot practitioner? You do things like make people's feet feel good. I don't know what that means, but it sounds brilliant. Well done. Well done. And you know what? This is often what I see because I work with tons of entrepreneurs. And I see so much of people getting the qualifications and having that initial high of I did it, yay! And then oh God, but then I have to actually do it. I have to actually do the thing. And that's the next step. It's that next bit of the comfort zone. You did the course and that's the first bit, but then there's another layer. Just comes with practice. Start with people that you know perhaps and build up. Learn what your boundaries are going to be when you're visiting people and that kind of thing, and how you want to work, what other people are doing. Start slowly and work out, but you'll get there. It's the same with anyone. I work with a lot of people that do similar things to me, so coaches and practitioners and entrepreneurs, and it is all practice, and it's scary. When I first started doing coaching and started working with people, I would be sweating before I did a session with somebody. So don't be hard on yourself, because that's an amazing achievement. Anyone who's doing that kind of stuff and putting yourself out there, it's such a brave thing. Oh, it's like a podiatrist, but not as qualified as them. I'm so pleased to have passed. I'm so nervous. That's okay. Nerves are good. We know nerves are excitement, just in a different form. Okay, so the fact that you've done it, that's the first step. It's brilliant. I can see this as well. People commenting on there as well. You're so welcome. I'm so excited. And I'm so excited that I can see that some of you guys, Jane and Martin, I can see you guys are in. I have announced this week that I am doing a real in-life, in-person workshop. In person, guys. I'm going to meet you face to face. I decided impulsively to book the Village Hotel out in Coventry, the 14th of August. It's a Saturday. We're going to have 4 hours together and we're going to talk all this kind of stuff, but in person, so we can chat proper. And it's free teas and coffees all day. You also get access to the Happy Me Project online. So when you finish, you can keep going. You can revisit, you can refresh the stuff that we've talked about. and I'm really excited. I will put some links. I will be bashing links out all over the place, but if you go onto my website, I have actually now put it up on there. And if you go imhollymatthews.com/all my stuff, it will be in there as well. But I really can't wait and really encourage you that are outside of Coventry in the Midlands to take a trip. It's going to be fun. I don't know how many of these I'm going to be able to do this year. I have to be really honest. I would love to say I would do a tour again, but that might not be possible this year. So get involved while I'm impulsive and doing stuff, and get your tickets and come and meet. And the great thing is, those of you, particularly if you're in the Facebook group, this is, and for those that are outside the Facebook group and you're thinking, I would like to come, but I haven't got anybody to come with, join the Facebook group, because I already know that there's loads of people in there that are saying they're alone, they don't have someone to come with, but they're just joining up with each other. And that's the best. I can't tell you how happy that makes me, because that's the whole point of the community, right? The dress code is dress how you want, Martin. Absolutely. I mean, I do always say, like, when people are there, take off your shoes, relax. If you want to get naked, I mean, the Village Hotel might frown upon it, and some people might be like, please don't get naked, but I want you to be comfortable. There's no dress code. This is not school. This is me. I swear too much. I don't do things in the right order. We're just going to have some fun, and we're going to talk about the stuff that is going to help us to grow as people. It's as simple as that. I know. So I can see people saying they're gutted as well, that they can't make the dates. I had to just pick a date out of the air and go with it, and it's never going to be the one that's for everybody. I'm sure I will do stuff at some point again, but I just can't promise it this year, because this year has been so weird, right? Anyway, I'm going to stop talking and talk about the topic in hand, which is disappointment. I'm also going to be talking about this for those that have to dip out on the radio today as well, on BBC Radio. Someone's just commenting naked. There you go, Martin. You can be naked if you want. I mean, I think some people at the Village might, I don't know, is that allowed? I don't think that's allowed. Maybe you should cover up. But if you want to be semi-clad? Is that what they say? Is that the right word? You know what I mean? It's up to you. Be comfortable. Wear what you want. Wear a dress. Wear shorts. Wear a hat. Wear makeup. I don't know what people want to wear, but people can wear whatever they want to wear. So, dealing with disappointment. So after last night's defeat, I thought it was very topical that we would do this. And I'm sort of thinking about this from the point of view of the England players. And I really felt for those guys last night. They grafted. They worked hard. They worked as a team. They connected. It was very clear to me that there had been some heavy mindset work done. And a lot of the mindset that they'd done had been around joy and connection as a team. And you could see that there was not this almost, in the past, I think we've seen a lot of competitiveness within the England team, because they all come from different British clubs. And I think there has been almost like a fractious nature to the team, whereas the team that we've seen during this competition has been really together and on the same side. And isn't that important? It's so important for us to be successful when we're in a team atmosphere. We're not competing within the team. We're willing each other to win. And you could see that at the end of the game yesterday. Yesterday's penalty shootout, that is the hardest thing, because it's a moment. Hi, Mary. Welcome on Facebook. Welcome, Marcus. It is a moment in time where it can go one way or the other. And how many of these do we face in our lives, where something could go one way, you could get that job opportunity, and it could be the one that changes everything. And as an actress, I used to get that a lot. I'd come up for a film audition or a big TV role, and I knew that if I got it, if I scored that penalty, it would change my life forever. It would change the course of the action. And for sure, within my working career, there have been those moments where, when I was a kid and I got my first acting job on Biker Grove as a young kid, 11, that changed the course of my life forever. It did. And that's why at 36, I'm still talking about it, because it changed my life. And that we have these almost sliding door moments all the time, don't we? And there are going to be times when it goes one way, whether that's work, whether that's relationships, and we've envisaged all of this future, and then it doesn't happen. For some of you in this group, I know that you've experienced the same kind of pain as me, where you've lost partners or you've lost really close people to you that have died, and you had one plan of action. It was going to go this way, and then it didn't. and the disappointment and the heartache that comes with that is hard. And so we will face these, whether we're in a team, whether it's work, whether it's relationships, throughout our lives. And it's how we bounce back. It's how we deal with that disappointment that really shapes us. And Martin's just saying, I agree, real team spirit and sportsmanship. And 31 out of 32 teams didn't win the tournament. 30 other teams didn't get to the final. So it's it's an amazing result. It's hard when you don't get that next bit. And I felt for the team incredibly. I felt for those that missed the penalties. It was hard. That's hard. It's really hard because, it's just one of them. Sometimes you get it and sometimes you don't. So the first thing to really think about when it comes to disappointment, and some of you might be in the middle of disappointment. Perhaps you've gone through a relationship breakup or a job that you didn't get, and you're sitting in that disappointed space that it just didn't work out. It didn't work out how you want to. And the most important thing is to acknowledge your feelings. It hurts. You need to cry. You feel sad. You feel angry. You feel frustrated. Whatever the feelings that are coming up for you, acknowledging those feelings is really important, because I promise you that if you don't acknowledge those feelings, if you brush those feelings under the carpet, they will spring up and it'll be like, whack-a-mole, whacking the feelings back down. And you don't want to be playing like emotional whack-a-mole, because you play that for a long time. Allow yourself. You know what I loved about last night is seeing the players cry, seeing the fans cry. We had tears in my family. My nephew, who's a Tottenham fan, loves his football, cried his eyes out last night, was absolutely heartbroken. And in my family, there was so much emotion. I mean, I personally love football, and I love that about football, that it allows particularly men to express emotions in a way that perhaps they wouldn't in any other setting. And it's important. It's important to cry. It's important to feel angry. It's important to feel frustrated. It's what we do with that really matters. So feeling the feelings, it's okay. It's okay to be disappointed. You don't have to try and force through it really quickly. Sit with it for a moment and see where you're at. So that's the first thing to consider. The next thing is to really note, especially if this is your personal disappointment. So let's say you're the England players. Let's say you've just lost a job opportunity, didn't come off for you this time. You didn't pass that test, didn't work out, didn't pass a driving test, you failed something in some way. The relationship didn't work out, the person didn't love you back, whatever, right? All of the stuff. You've had a disappointment. What you really need to recognize is that you've had a disappointment. You're not a disappointment. You are not a disappointment because you had a disappointment. That's a lot of words, but you understand what I mean, right? There is a big distinction, okay, between you being a disappointment of a person who's failed. Those England players could very easily, especially those that miss the penalty, they could very easily go, well, I'm a disappointment. I disappointed a nation. That's a hard, heavy thing, a heavy, guilty feeling to carry. And it's nonsense, because just like Martin said, particularly using those England players as an example, they've given us so much joy over the last few weeks. There's been so much excitement. They've had an incredible, amazing journey, further than we've seen many of our English teams ever get to in my lifetime, at least. And so there's not a disappointment. There's not a win, but that's okay. These things happen and we have to move forward. So if you're experiencing disappointment, it's really acknowledging that and looking at, what did you learn? What did you learn from this disappointment? Where were the lessons? Because there's always lessons. Whatever the disappointment is, whether it was kind of out of your hands or whether it was not, there's something that can be learned from that, something that can be garnered. And perhaps you can't see that in the midst of it while you're still really very much in the feelings. It's hard, isn't it, to see to see it there. But as you work through those feelings and you start beginning to come out of the other side, you can reflect and you can go, what did I learn? What did I learn? That relationship didn't work out. What did I learn? Okay, maybe I learned that I don't want that again, or I want this again, or I need more of that. Or me personally, I get triggered by and I respond in this way, and maybe I need to work on that. They're all really important learnings. Let's say you didn't get the job or you didn't pass the test. What do you need to do? Where's the learnings that you need to continue learning? Can you ask for help anywhere? What can you do to move yourself to the next stage? And reminding yourself that when you have these disappointments, it's because you've pushed out of a comfort zone to get to something. You've reached, you've strived, you've tried a bit, right? That's dead brave. You know, those that English team there, those guys that stepped up for the penalties, those guys that stepped on that pitch at all, they stepped out of their comfort zone. Can you possibly imagine the pressure that they felt when they walked? I mean, it makes me choke. And some of them did, right? Because they couldn't get on top of it, and that's part of stepping out of your comfort zone. The likelihood is those that missed the penalties last night won't do that again in that circumstance, perhaps. Maybe they will, you know. Sometimes we need the lesson more than once, but we have to push ourselves out of our comfort zone. And when we do this, incredible things can happen. And we did see that with the England team last night. They got to where they got to because they pushed themselves out of their comfort zone. And if you relate this to your own personal life, we've just had in the Facebook group, Jane sharing that she's just recently passed an exam, which has taken her out of her comfort zone. She passed it, an amazing thing to do. And now she's at this new stage of she's got to go the next way, push yourself out of her comfort zone. And without a doubt, Jane, along that way, as you push yourself and you meet new clients and you try to run this new thing that you're doing, there will be failures and disappointments. As a business owner who has always worked for herself, I've had many disappointments throughout my working life, loads of them. And some of them you don't see on social media, and some of them you do. And it's all okay because it means that we are trying, whether it's a relationship. Let's say the relationship didn't work out. You tried. You got to put yourself out there. You've got to try. There is a big world out there full of opportunities, full of people, full of chances to have that, you know, to score that goal, literally. You know, there will be misses, but there will be opportunities to keep going to score that goal. And that's really, really exciting. I'm just checking that everybody can hear me okay, because I've just had a message saying that somebody couldn't. Can you hear me okay? Can you see me okay? Are you reading me loud and clear? I can see active FX on YouTube is saying, Holly smile always makes us happy. That's very lovely. Thank you. And every failure gets closer if we learn. Absolutely. We take these moments. You can hear me and see me. Perfect. Thank you, Martin. We take these moments and we run with them, and we recognize we are not a failure. We are not the disappointment. We had disappointment, and it's an experience that we had. And lastly, take a break. When you've had a disappointment, take a moment. You don't always have to speed through. You don't have to speed through the feelings, speed through to the next thing, unless that helps, which case do that. You have to listen and tune into yourself always. But it is important to just give yourself a moment, okay? And Martin's just said, I'm going to put this on the screen, Martin, I hope you don't mind, but I think it's important. If losing didn't hurt, winning wouldn't matter. Boom, absolutely, right? Absolutely. That's an important point. And it's all part of the dance, right? You know, life is an ebb and flow of good things and things that don't feel so good. And all of it is okay. It is. It doesn't always feel okay when we're in the midst of pain and heartache and hardship and all of that stuff. It can feel really difficult, but it's part of the dance. We don't get a free, run at things where everything is easy breezy. It's never going to happen. If you have an expectation of that, you'll be disappointed. But equally, just because you've had some failures and some hardships and some difficult times doesn't mean it will always be like that. And you cannot sit in that space either, because then you will miss the opportunity to make things right, to learn, to have that next exciting experience or relationship. So we have to just stay open, and we have to recognize life's like this. You can see on Facebook someone saying they still have the World Cup around the corner. Absolutely. It's a failure when you don't let yourself try again. That's the only failure, when you stop. And someone else is saying, I feel so encouraged. Thank you. Need to find my confidence. Need to repeat some affirmations. Absolutely. Find your affirmations today. Affirmations are sentences that we say in the present tense. We repeat to ourselves. We train our brain with them, for those that don't know. So really take a break. Really do something different. You know, I talked about at the beginning there that the English team really seemed to be finding their joy. We saw footage of them, you know, messing around in the swimming pool on big unicorn floats and stuff like that. And you know, that's joy, and joy helps us get to the next thing. I always say to my daughters, you know, let's just move to the next good thing. I think it was on Frozen 2. There's a song on it, and I don't remember the exact lyrics, but the sentiment is the same as that. It's moved to the next good thing, or it's about working towards the next good thing, and that's it, right? When we're in the tough times, feel it, acknowledge it, have that moment, but then work towards your joy. What is, you know, maybe you need to shake it up a little bit, you know, just shake it off, move on. The English team now, after that disappointment, good morning, Charlotte on YouTube, and need to just to shake it off, to have their moments. And perhaps in this break time, they need to talk to somebody. Perhaps you need to talk to somebody. You need to offload some of the feelings of disappointment. It's hard, isn't it? It's hard to admit that something hasn't worked out, especially if we had a part to play in it. And where we've missed the penalty, where we failed the test, where we didn't get it. It's disappointing because other people have that same excitement. The worst thing for me sometimes when I was doing acting, and I would go for a big audition, and it was harder when I told other people that I had this big audition, because if I didn't then get it, I would get, oh, did you get it? How did you get on? How did you get on? And I would have to deal with my disappointment in front of other people, and that was always really hard. Because you felt that other people were, my makeup's just like sliding down my face today. You felt like other people were disappointed for you as well, and maybe you disappointed. So, you know, it's talking to other people, acknowledging it with others if it helps. Maybe you need to talk to a professional. For some of you, if you've got stuck in the feeling moment where you can't move past the sadness or the anger, maybe you need some more professional help. You need to talk it through with somebody who has some experience in some way. Maybe it's a mental health professional or a coach or just somebody who can help you, a doctor who can help you a little bit through those things. It's okay to not be able to deal with it on your own as well. Where can you seek help from other people? In my Facebook group, on Facebook, the Happy Me Project, for those that aren't in it, join it, because sometimes just being around people who are in a similar mindset, a growth mindset, who are going on this journey can actually help you to just work out what you knew really inside you anyway. And Martin's just saying, just do the next right thing, take a step. Yeah, absolutely. The step, this is it, right? Sometimes you just got to take a small step. Even if you don't know the full staircase, you don't know exactly where you're going, just take a step, just try a little bit. Someone on Facebook saying, thank you, really resonated with me. Move on to the next good thing. Find your joy. This is it. What can we find joy in this week? Martin says, I didn't tell people when I had auditions. I didn't know that was your background, Martin. Maybe I did. I don't remember. Until after they had happened. And that way I controlled when, how much. Yeah, that's the smart move. I began to do that. But sometimes when it was big auditions and it was going for a while, it would be hard not to say, Catherine says, learning to drive is this exactly, yeah, crazy when you eventually pass. It's not significant. It's just not, is it? And for those that are in their driving space, I failed my first test. I failed one test. I think I only failed one. I failed one test, but I didn't start driving until I was 26. And I had tons of lessons with loads of different instructors. And I just found initially, I mean, I'm fine now. But I just found the whole process really daunting, and I just didn't have it's interesting now that I say this, but I didn't have the concentration levels for it and didn't know how to play the game of passing a test. And so it was hard. It was really hard. Jane says, I'm just trying to get used to being disappointed in work. I'm self-employed, grant funding, bid writer. I had 100% success rate. Funding for charities until COVID. Yeah, there's so much more competition and I couldn't cope, so I've started job hunting. But I get the interviews but don't get the jobs, but none of them say why. That's so frustrating, isn't it, when they don't say why? Because how do you bloody grow from that? I hate it so much. I wish they did. And it was always the same in the acting world as well. They never told you why, so you just internalized it as I'm the disappointment. You're not the disappointment. But I would say, Jane, perhaps you need to look at, this is just my thoughts very initially this is just pulling things out the air, but something to think about is when we don't fully want the job, there will be a conflict within you that subconsciously you will give out signals you don't really want it. That can have an impact. And I know that for you, you're thinking, right, I want the job, but maybe there's part of you that still wants the self-employment, probably, I'd imagine, and still wants to do that thing. So there might be just a little conflict that you have to find some way of really thinking to yourself, this is a good next step. And actually, I'm not conflicted with still being pulled towards a self-employed at this moment, because I understand what's going on in the world. And the world is a strange upset. Yeah, and Jane's like, oh, never thought of that. Yeah, there's definitely that. There's definitely, like, under the surface, if there's just a little something swimming around, I don't really want to be here. I don't want this, because actually what I want to be doing is self-employed. Then you're going to go in and do all of the best work that you can in an interview. But there's a part, and it's strange because the interviewer will still pick that up. There is a part of that that's like somehow subliminally giving something off that you don't want it really, because it's a stopgap. So maybe there's a way to integrate, and maybe there's a way that you can find that you can just settle that and get that part of your subconscious to know this is cool for us right now. This isn't forever. We're just going to do this for now, and we're going to enjoy it and be in it, and it's going to be a good thing for us, and it's going to help me to get to the next self-employment thing where I go back to what I was doing before. There's going to be lots of mix-up of things over the next year still, where we're doing things differently and maybe not quite in the way that we really fully want to, or how we were doing it before. Sometimes we just have to play the game, right? For a little while, we're just playing the game, all right? Until we get to doing the next thing. There's so many things that people have had to shift and pivot on over the last year, and it hasn't always been nice. It hasn't always been the way that we wanted to do things, but things will turn around, and you just have to see the bigger picture sometimes on it. And know that actually sometimes for some of us right now, it might be, right, I've got to do this right now, even though it's not something I'm passionate about, but I'm smart enough to understand that the wider picture will shift and I will move with that. One of my favorite quotes is, it is not the strongest of the species that survives, nor the most intelligent, but it is the one most adaptable to change. It's a Darwin quote. And, look at you, Jane, you are adapting to the change that's been put out there. But just make sure your subconscious is on board with that as well. And just find a way to let it know that it's okay. Listen, so I feel like I'm just like going to hug the subconscious. It's okay. We're going to go back to doing what we want at some point. I'm just seeing on Facebook, someone said, I didn't finally pass my driving test until I was 26. Took me 5 attempts overall. I gave up at 17 when I didn't pass, so it took me a long time to pick it back up. Yeah, there's so many reasons for that. And again, it's much like the penalties that England took. That one moment of that test, that pressure, if you can't get on top of that for that moment, you may not get where you need to be. So there's a lot of similarities in there. I'm going to check my notes in case there was something else I wanted to tell you guys. I can't remember. I think we've spoken about it mostly. It's really truly just about us understanding that when we have a disappointment, we're allowed to feel always. We're allowed to feel the feelings, and we just have to walk ourselves through that next little bit. We have to not internalize it as we are the disappointment. That's not true. Even if you are the one that messed up, even if you failed the test, you're not a disappointment. You're a human being with normal emotions. Those guys that stepped up and took that penalty, that's a big deal. Those guys, regardless of the role that they have for us in our minds as our England team, and those that are English, they're stepping up. They also have families and emotions. Some of them may have gone through breakups or hardships or had hard times or not feel very good about themselves that day, or somebody said something and they internalize. They're human beings, they're not robots. And we are those people. We are normal human beings, and sometimes we win, sometimes we lose. That's it. In every moment. And then we get back up. That's what we need. That's the skill, that skill of resilience. That's what if we can get that right and we just keep going, and we never lose. We're just working towards the next win, the next success. Thank you so much, Active FX. And saying he works with traders, and this would benefit a lot of them not taking losses. But absolutely. yeah, anybody that is working in any kind of entrepreneurial space or trading or anything like that, especially where there's lots of quick losses, and there can be, and wins, quick wins too. But when it's like that, you've got to learn to build yourself back up quickly. You've just not got to internalize. As an actor, I would recognize that in a weird space, I was a product and that I had to fit what they needed. When you go to a job interview, there's going to be many factors that will, need to work out to make sure that you get that job. So, and I have said I'm going to do something on this, which I really need to do something on job interview technique, because I have a fair knowledge in this and the psychology behind job interview, but it ain't about you. It is a bit, I'm not saying it's not at all, but so much of it is not about you at all, but about the person that is interviewing you. And success rate from a job interview point of view, there are some people that interview people and have only a 50% success rate in picking the right candidate. It's really low. Like, as in, the candidate that auditions, interviews really well, isn't necessarily the candidate that's good at the job. And some people have some of them lower than a 50% success rate in picking the right candidate. It is not always about us, okay? And even with driving and all of these things, it's that moment. It's such a tiny thing that you can do wrong. And as a driver, how many things do we do wrong in that moment? Even if it's even as a fully past driver who's been driving for years, we still make those tiny little snap decisions every day of our lives. So please be kind to yourself, walk through this. Jane says, just seen on TV the background of the team, they have shown their resilience. Some of those lads grew up with nothing, look where they are now. It gives me chills. Like, I actually cried when I watched the intro to the England team last night, and we were hearing all of their mentors and their PE teachers, and some of them have had mums that have died, and they're human beings, and all of us have gone through all kinds of stuff. So this week, be kind to yourself. Recognize whatever mini disappointments you have or big disappointments you have this week, that you will walk through them. You can acknowledge your pain, you can keep walking. Now, I would love to see lots of you at my in-person workshop. If you are in the UK, this would be a lovely opportunity as the world opens up more to come and hang out in the Midlands. I'm right in the middle, in the Midlands, Coventry. There is a hotel where I'm doing it at, so there's space there, and there's lots of places around it as well. So grab your friends and come and hang out with me. I will post below this the links to the workshop, and it's going to be on Saturday, the 14th of August, 12 till 4. We're going to have 4 hours together. I'm going to create something lovely for you, and we're going to have fun. We're going to talk about lots, and you're going to find your tribe. I talk a lot, and I created some lovely t-shirts with your vibe attracts your tribe. And those of you that are on this at all, if you're watching now or on the replay, these are your people. These are people who are working towards being their best self in some way. And so get around them, and they will be at my workshop. So come and hang out with me. I look forward to seeing you. Go and grab your tickets now. And amazing, guys. Well done. Have an amazing week. Whatever you are doing, check in with yourself. Recognize that whatever is going on this week, you can get through it. You can walk through it, and you will be okay, regardless of all of the tough stuff. You can check out all of my stuff on iamhollymatthews.com/all-my-stuff. There will be the podcast. There will be links to all of my self-study courses. There will be links to the workshop. There will be links to what else? I don't know. All the stuff. Come and hang out with me on all of the platforms. If you're on YouTube, subscribe to this channel now so you get notifications. And if you're on Facebook, give me a thumb and a like and all of that stuff. Please do continue to tune in, to comment on things, and I really appreciate you guys so much. Thank you for doing that, because the more you comment on my stuff and you like it and you save it and all of that stuff, it means that social media platforms will share it with more people, and I can help more people. And that's the thing. Stuart just says, I just joined and picked up something to do with learning to drive. When I turned 17, my dad had organised a driving lesson for me, but I was crippled with fear over driving a car. I didn't believe in myself, but I knew I could ride a motorbike. How interesting. I got my bike license, spent 13 years as a biker before learning to drive. I'm now a van driver, courier, and this is, oh my God, now you love driving. How interesting. So Stuart went from somebody who was all full of the fear, and now it's his work. Isn't that incredible? How amazing. What a flip around. And this can happen, guys. So wherever you are at right now, be like Stuart and recognize that. Keep trying, keep walking forward or driving forward. In Stuart's case, who knows what is going to happen next? It is not written in stone. Okay, I'll speak to you all very soon. Peace.